coaches are in. When you need a timely, transparent friend, tune into the coaches are in. Talking career, business, health, and wealth. You've got a friend now into the coaches are in. With authenticity, come on, let's take a seat and tune in.
Welcome to The Coaches Are In. This episode is brought to you by A Captivating Career and The Speaker. All right. We are back for yet another episode of The Coaches Are In, where we have real, raw, and relatable conversations to help you move to your next level. I'm Dr. Sharita Weatherspoon, CEO of Powerhouse Coaching, operations extraordinaire, alignment coach, author, speaker, and publisher, and the creator of The Coaches Are In.
Joyce Dungy Proctor, career strategist, speaker, author, and the founder of Seminars by Joyce and A Captivating Career.
I'm Coach Allison, and I am your behavioral interventionist for women.
Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Malika, and I'm the founder of the Speaker LLC and host of the Pivot Podcast with Dr. Malika. I'm a motivational speaker and author, but today I'm your confidence coach.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies. Now, if you tuned in to last week's episode, you know that we talked about your relationship with yourself. And if you didn't tune in, girl, why not? Get your life together.
Okay. Like right
They
now.
missed it.
Right now. All right. But we want to continue that conversation, but with a little bit of a twist. So I want to kick this conversation off by asking the coaches their thoughts on this question. And this is not a viewer question. This is just our continuation of the conversation from last week. So coaches, how does your relationship with yourself influence your relationship with others?
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. You know, can I start off? Y'all mind?
Absolutely.
So it's the foundation, right? My relationship with me or your relationship with you is the foundation for other relationships. And so whatever, if you're having a positive relationship with yourself, then that will reflect the kinds of relationships you have with other people. If you have some issues, right, some negative things going on just about yourself, what you say about you, even if you start out in a positive relationship with someone, 9 times out of 10, what's in you will come out. And so a lot of times we struggle with relationships with other people because of what's in you. And I want to read this really quickly. Your subconscious mind is paying attention to how you treat yourself. Yes. So your subconscious mind is paying attention to how you treat yourself. And let me go a step further. It will reflect how you treat others. So what you practice, what you rehearse, that thing is coming out one way or the other, and you can only put a facade up but for so long.
Yeah, that's good. Even thinking of how you said how you treat others, we could take that a step further and understand that the relationship that you have with yourself also has so much to do with how others treat you. So depending on how you feel about yourself, how you present yourself to the world, the energy that you put out, you are teaching people through how you feel about yourself. And I honestly believe that is probably the one thing that most women don't recognize. They don't recognize how important their relationship with their self is. Therefore, when things start to crumble in the romantic relationships or even with friendships, there's not this understanding of self. So you're just kind of going as, when you really need to learn more about you so that you have, like you said, that firm foundation.
Good.
That's good.
That's really, really good. All of those are good. And I tell you, when I was listening, it took me back, and I'm not going to say 100 years today, but it took me back. I'm not going to say 100, but it did take me back to a season in my life where I was in the midst of not feeling so wonderful and so great about myself. And so going inward and doing some self work and coming through that, what I noticed is not only a major impact on me, but also a major impact on the way that I treated and engaged others. So clearly the relationship with self can definitely dictate the relationships that we will have with others.
Yes, yes. All of that is so good. So good. And I think similar to the conversation we had about self-care previously, we get so caught up in sometimes taking care of other people, we don't take care of ourselves. The same thing goes with the relationship. We're so engrossed in the relationship with other people and maybe meeting their needs and making sure they're happy. We don't think about what that means for us, right? So I feel like that relationship, yes, it's about, kind of how you feel about yourself, but also how you treat yourself. And then that leads to what you are willing to accept from others in terms of how they treat you. So if a sister's finding herself like always in these toxic relationships, and it could be romantic, but it doesn't have to be,
Right.
it could be in friendships and all of that. I was like, what's going on with you, right? Why do you keep attracting this? Why do you keep dealing with it? And what is the story that you're telling yourself about what you deserve and what type of love, interaction, treatment, whatever that you're worthy of receiving from other people? So I think it's this baseline of kind of like when you look in the mirror, who do you see?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Good.
And what do you think about the person that you see? And if you find yourself in these relationships that are not good for you, are not healthy, or maybe even there's not even really anything wrong with the relationship, but you're dissatisfied in it because it's not meeting a specific need that you have, but you've been tolerating it for however long you've been tolerating it.
Yeah.
What in you says that that's okay for you to accept?
Mm-hmm.
We need to fix
settle.
that.
It's settling. It's really identity. I consider it like an identity crisis. So when you don't know you, or maybe you used to know you, right? I work with a lot of used to know who they were, and life has just gotten to them, family situations and circumstances, and they've forgotten. So sometimes a relationship with self just needs to be rediscovered.
And really learning who you are and not who other people think you are. So, we tend to carry into adulthood the ideas that our family, have kind of embedded in us about who we are or who we should be. And you never figure that out for yourself. What do I like? What do I want? What's important to me? What are my values?
Yep.
Rather than I'm carrying the Griffin, into this life where I'm, I got to live it by myself, right? I got to wake up with me every day. I got to live my life every day, but I'm carrying this identity that has been thrusted on me since birth that may not actually be reflective of who I really am,
right?
Or who you want to be,
or who you want to be,
and that I think is the transition, or maybe it's transformation that takes place in your life. So how I grew up, what I learned in my parents' household, all the teachings were fantastic, right? But now I'm coming into my own, and I'm learning new things about me and learning new things I want to adopt. And so maybe what you think I should be and what I am and where I want to be, where I want to go, they just don't align anymore. And that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
It takes a strength and a courage to move from that too. So
yeah. Well, you said all those lessons you learned were good.
Once you start to understand that, negotiable for you. Yes.
But I would argue that maybe they weren't. You might think they are because it's simply how things were.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you think about like if you saw your parents, and I'm saying your generically, not necessarily anyone on this recording, but you saw your parents' relationship, and that kind of communicated to you what marriage is supposed to be like. And so you think that's what it is, but maybe what you actually saw was not a good example of marriage, right?
True.
And yes, as you say, Allison, it takes some courage to then say that is not what I want. Yeah, y'all were married for 50 years until
But it
death
was
do us
miserable.
part. But y'all was miserable, and I don't
Right. I don't want that.
I
That
think
might mean, you know, we do some things that are contrary to what the people in our lives think are good or acceptable, you know, because we know our parents typically believe like, well, you stay married, and what happens in this house stays in the house, you know, and all of that stuff. And you're deciding like, well, no, you know what, I'm not happy. Or no, I'm not going to let this man beat me upside my head. No, I'm not going to let this man beat on me. You know, whatever the case may be, I want something different for myself. So I'm going to leave.
Yes.
And then you get ostracized because you're doing something different from what everybody else thinks you're doing, right? And while it doesn't seem to be related to identity or your relationship with yourself, it so very much is.
All of it.
Mhm.
All of it.
Mhm.
You can't escape yourself. Wherever you go, you're always there.
Mhm.
I've been reading Disruptive Thinking. I just started reading it by T.D. Jakes. I think it's his new book. And he said, if you want to see your life change, then change it. Like, it's not about for us, Superwoman coming down and saving the day.
Mhm.
You can save the day, right? You have to make the changes. And that's what a disruptor does. It disrupts the normal, and it takes a lot of courage. I think, Allison, you said that it takes courage to do that.
Mhm.
Well, it sounds like a breakthrough to me. I mean, it really does. I mean, if you think about what all of you have just shared, it's an aha moment. It's a breakthrough. It's realizing that, you know, I don't have to accept this. It's realizing that worked for them, but it doesn't have to work for me. And it's okay. And it doesn't necessarily have to be deemed as a bad thing. You get the opportunity to choose what's good for you.
Mhm.
And even if your parents did accept certain things that you would not necessarily accept in a non-judgment zone, doesn't mean that we're saying it for you and better for me because I'm not. It's choices, and everybody has the right to live the life that they choose and to accept and choose what they desire.
Mm.
Yeah, I love choose.
Or what works
I love
for them.
Yeah,
it's your choice. I mean, you know, each generation too, if you think about it, each generation gets a little bolder and bolder. And to me, they look at things different, right? Down to the workplace, finances, everything, goals. You know, when I was growing up, it was the gold watch, retire, the white picket fence, get married, make six figures, whatever. Okay, whatever.
Okay.
But that doesn't have to be what's great for everyone else. And then if you didn't achieve it, you're feeling like a big zero.
Right.
Or that you didn't meet the expectations that they or the world has for you. So again, it's about choice. You know, be disruptive. Talk about the book. I like that. All of you, like, I'm energized. I was in a daze taking it all in.
Taking your notes.
Did we wake you up, sis? Did we wake you up?
I was fully present.
Yes, but I think that the choice piece is so important because there are choices that we make every single day of our lives throughout the day that will, one, are a reflection of either who we are or who we are trying to appear to be.
Yes.
Right. And then those choices will then impact how other people choose to engage with us. And then we are choosing then, well, how do we respond to that engagement, right? And even I think back now, where actually all of our viewer questions could probably all come back to this subject and your relationship with yourself and kind of how you see yourself and what you think about yourself. But I think we have to be clear that all of that, like internal stuff, does have an outward impact in terms of how other people are going to choose to deal with us, and then ultimately what we accept from other people.
Yeah,
that's
and
good.
to give themselves grace, and to understand that there's some seasons in our lives where we are able to show up and be stronger and be able to do things that maybe we would not be able to do in another season, you know, but each day that you're living and breathing, you get another opportunity.
Yes. Always can choose to begin again.
Yes.
That's good.
Awesome. Awesome. So we're going to take a quick break, hear a word from our sponsor, and we'll be right back with more.
Are you a career professional looking to have more passion and purpose in the work that you do, or experiencing a career transition? My name is Joyce Dungy Proctor. I come to you with more than 25 years of experience mentoring women just like you who desire to create a captivating career, build a powerful personal brand, and accelerate their path to creating influence, impact, and income. Join our Rock Your Brand at acaptivatingcareer.com.
All right. So now it really just stirred some things up in me, just thinking about how my relationship with myself affected everything in my life at some point until I realized who I really was. And that meant for me, I allowed what other people said about me, which was mostly negative in my upbringing, different people that were around me growing up. And I allowed that to be my story. So for me, my relationship with myself was negative because I believed and I took on all of the negative experiences and things that I had dealt with. So I operated from that. Like I learned that I walked my life out every day from that person, right? So from that wounded person, from all of those experiences. And I think we all discussed how it's your choices. So my choices based on walking my life out as someone who was unexceptional and not accepted was totally different once I really understood who I was, who God created me to be, what I needed to do to continue to grow myself out of all of that. And that's why it's so important. That's the first thing that you have to start with. Whatever work you're trying to do, whatever it is that you're looking to do, when you start to really recognize who you are, whose you are, what you deserve, it totally changed my life. And it's a life-changing experience because you're making choices from a healthier place, from a whole place, from a whole different place of understanding than ever before.
Right.
Yes. Well, I can share, some of my personal experiences, plural, with this. Yeah. So it's been, several different issues over the years, and we're never fully arrived, right? But one of the key areas in my life where I could see this kind of playing out was in relationship to my job and my desire to launch my business. And I had this idea that like people had these expectations of me, and to be perfectly honest with you, I still struggle with this sometimes in my showing up continuously for my business, right? Especially when you have these like titles and credentials attached to your name. It's kind of like you have this feeling that people they expect these things from you.
Everything.
Right? And then it's like, can I meet the expectation? And as a result, it had me kind of falling back, right? So it took me years, like a long time, to be able to, like when I was laid off from my role, it like at that point it was easy for me to walk away, but I knew I should have walked away years prior to that. But it was fear that kept me in place, and part of it was really like people are going to think you're crazy leaving this job. You done made your way up the ladder, like you're on this track to head into a presidency, right? And you're going to walk away from the security. You're going to walk away from the money. You're going to walk away from the title. You're going to walk away from the power to what? Start your own business. Like, girl, what's wrong with you?
That little old business thing. You want to be one of them entrepreneurs.
Right. And that really kept me, obviously that wasn't the only thing at play, but it was a major thing. And this idea thought about, well, like how people are going to judge me for the decisions that I make, for the choice to do something different from what everybody in my circle was doing. Right. And then when I was kind of forced to make a choice after being laid off, it took me about 6 weeks to kind of come to myself. It's just like, let me just take some time and process all of this and think about it. And when I thought about it, it was just like, you know what? I'm getting older, for one, right? And there is so much that I want to do in this world that being in this kind of a job will limit me from being able to do. And that's not just the entrepreneurship. That's just kind of the flexibility with my time,
Right.
and things I want to experience and all of that. And I don't ever want to be in the position again where somebody else is in control of my income and my security. Right. And then it was just kind of like fluff what everybody else is saying. this is what I'm going to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as I said, that still showed up for me, and it still does on occasion show up for me, as preparing to do something new, or kind of moving towards my next level, whatever it may be. And it's kind of like, what are people going to think? And what if if you, even how we engage here, right? Like you're seeing Sharita Riri right on here, not necessarily Dr. Sharita, but I feel like people want to, well, it's Dr. Sharita. Dr. Sharita has to show up a certain way. Dr. Sharita has to always speak perfectly, and like there's these expectations that come with that, while I'm seeing other people just doing it and doing it so imperfectly, right? And it's just like, Sharita, get over yourself, right?
Just do it.
Yeah, just do it. Just show up. Just be you, and recognize that you are enough, more than enough. And no, you don't. The titles and credentials are they're just there, like they're accessories. They don't define who you are, and it's okay for you to just be you.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I could just echo some of what she said and just be done with it, but let's go a different angle. For me, I think there's always been an issue for me with a sense of belonging, feeling like I want to belong to something. And I think that comes a lot from childhood experiences. And so with that came people pleasing, right? So that I can fit. And, I think it has impacted the decisions that I've made, the decisions that I didn't make, right? Standing still too long in a decision, standing still too long in a fear place, right? And so I think for me, it's just, now that I'm 50, finally kind of seeing where I don't have to, please everyone, and I can't do that. But also, what exactly do I want to belong to, right? I don't necessarily need to belong to this group, that group. I'm good where I am. I'm good where God has me, right? And so that has taken a long time, and it's almost as if that self-discovery and self-appreciation for me has almost been like somebody ripping something out of me, because it's been attached to me for so long to please people, to want to belong in something. And what if people don't appreciate what I bring to the table? And the flip side of that is I will try to do everything. So that's how I've been. I think out of the four of us, Sharita knows that well. Like, I will try to do everything. And I believe that I'm gifted to do a lot of different things, but it's like, what am I here to do? And,
come on now.
Those other things are good, but those other things really please what other people look for from you. But what is it that you're here to do? And I think that that's been, as far as just thinking through that self-discovery, self-love, and like who I am, and how that plays out in my own life. It's like I'm finally learning that if I say no, it's okay. If that group is not okay with me, that's okay. It feels funny. Don't get me wrong, but that's really okay, and we can move on. So,
and it's their loss, right?
It's okay.
It's
I
really
don't need to be in your group.
That's right. I'm having a party over here all by myself.
I'm gonna pull up the table.
It is. It feels it. it does feel funny. I don't, anyone out there who knows what I've experienced, I want you to know this is not like I've arrived, as Dr. Sharita said, but you address that feeling, and then you have to learn how to move on and be okay. Like, I'm okay. I'm okay. So
Yeah.
Well, right now, I'm actually in the second grade. I'm listening to you all and I'm watching you, but I'm literally in the second grade. And, you know, I have to just touch on the childhood just for a second. And I think so in the second grade, that was a turning point for me. I met a teacher. Now keep in mind, you only got kindergarten and first grade, but by the time I got to the second, I was with a wonderful teacher who poured some things into me that other teachers did not. I'm just going to use that as an example. And I tell you, people can speak things into your life, rather be negative or positive. But what she spoke into my life in the second grade was opposite of what I had heard maybe in kindergarten and the first grade. And I'm forever grateful that she did it, because I'm sitting here in a much different season and I'm remembering and thanking her for that. And I did get the opportunity to thank her probably about 8 years ago. I looked for her to thank her. But I say all that to say is that people will say things to you as a young person, not realizing the impact that it can carry for a lifetime. People will do things to you as a young person that not realizing the impact it can have as as you move on in your life. And so what I would like to say is that I'm so thankful and so grateful for the transformation, for the opportunity to experience breakthroughs, for the opportunity to be able to overcome, to bounce back, and to look at those things and use those things as a stepping stone to become who I am. Hence the walk in love, hence the hugging, virtually, and the kindness and the compassion. It is because of them that I have become who I am. Because had I not had some of those negative things that happened to me, I would not have become who I am. And they have carried over into my adult life. And these are the positive things that I've been able to pull from something that otherwise could have took me out. And I'm talking bullying. It's a whole gamut, but that's not what we're here to talk about. But I said from a place of being very, very thankful and very, very grateful. And I've continued to use some of my most challenging, tough experiences to position myself to become better. And not because it's easy, because remember, we have a choice,
Right.
But I choose to use those experiences to fuel me. And when Dr. Sharita was saying, you don't have to be perfect, you don't have to be perfect. And we all strive for that. And we have things sitting on the shelves that we need to take back off. We think we have things that we put down that we need to pick back up because we want it to be perfect. And people are out there doing it and they're not perfect, So there's a certain amount of freedom that comes when you realize, and when you have that breakthrough, and when you're like, oh, okay, we can do this. That's all, but hugs and like heart emojis or something right now.
I love that. Listen, one of the things that Dr. Sharita says at the beginning of the show is that we're going to provide you with real and relatable, raw, good stuff. And we shared today. But you know what? One of my favorite segments of the show is just helping our guests, our viewers. And so, Dr. Sharita, who are we helping today, or what are we addressing today that we can now move over to helping somebody else who is watching the show?
Yeah, so we do have another viewer question. This question is pretty kind of direct, straight to the point. All right, so she is saying, I hate my job. I hate the company I work for. I hate the people I work with, and I hate the work I do. I know that sounds dramatic, but it's true. I want to start my own business. I'm planning to quit my job soon, and I need your help on what I should do first.
So here's the thing, okay? Because let's just pretend like we know nothing. There's no background information on this individual. They just share raw like feeling. Let me start out just based on being your confidence coach. I really feel like when things like this happen, in all seriousness, there's a confidence to share that information and to say, I'm out, I'm done, I hate the job, okay, so, and we don't know why, we don't know how long you've been there, we don't know if you're contributing to, we know nothing, but we just know you hate the job. Here's my thing, and I'm going to share with you about 5 things that I think is important. Number 1, get wisdom, right? I really want you to think about jotting down some notes and some thoughts. What do you want to do? Where do you want to be? You say, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to start something. Write some things down, just some raw notes. Get some wisdom. Talk to that close-knit group, your village, and then share your desired move with them. Here's the important piece. You need to talk to your people who can challenge you, but also continue to build you. So I could talk to one of you and say, this is something I want to do. And you will say, well, have you thought about this? Okay, but I got you though. I'll support you. I got you, but I want you to think about both sides. And I think sometimes we run away from that kind of conversation. We just want people to tell us, go ahead, you got it. Okay. So number 3, make an appointment and sit down with a career coach. So I would say, shameless plug, the Coaches Are In are a wonderful resource. And if we can't help you, we can tell you, we can refer you to someone who can assist you, someone you will be comfortable with. But take those raw notes, seek wisdom from your village, and then sit down with somebody who does this day to day, who can help you look at things from a different perspective and provide you with some resources. And then the 4th thing is, do what they tell you to do. Many times we invest in coaches, we invest in counselors, and then we don't follow through. So that's really critical, is to do what they tell you to do. And the other thing that I will say is, which would probably, that's number 5, is don't do anything that's going to tear down your confidence, but maintain it or increase it. Because when you make decisions like, I want to leave my job, and then you go into something that you're not ready for, what does that do? It diminishes your confidence in who you are and what you know is inside of you, and something that's pulling on this change that you want or you desire. That's okay, but you want to make sure that you're finding things that are going to help build that confidence and increase your confidence so that you can be the great woman that you are called to be. So I just wanted to start out there. Just share.
That was good. That was good. And where were you when I decided to quit my job?
Yeah, you covered so much. I mean, Dr. Malika, you covered so much. I'm just listening to her saying that she hates everything. Hating the job, the work, and the company, that's a lot of hate. So my first thing would be for her to maybe kind of pause and do some self-assessing, because again, in self-reflecting, I want to get down to why does she dislike it so much? What is it about the role, the company that she dislikes? And so literally getting, pen to paper and writing it down. I want to seek to understand, peel the onion back. We got to peel the onion back, right? Before you can start to move forward. A place of straight, emotion. Like you said, we don't know how long she's been there. We don't want her reacting 100% to her emotions and making decisions that she may regret later. So I do want to caution her to slow down, right? The other thing I think is important is for her to examine her personal values, what's important to her now based on the season that she's in her life. And then also, I just said, make a list, but pinpointing exactly what she doesn't like, but also what does she like? And if ultimately she decides that, hey, you know what, I really do want to start my own business, and that's why I'm so frustrated. So no matter what changes here in this environment, I'm still going to feel the way that I feel, then maybe she should secure a coach, a business coach. And I'm going to say that because You don't want to just jump out of the fire, okay, without any support. I would really recommend that she highly go through it strategically. So to slow down, peel the onion back, self-assess pros and cons, seek to understand the why, and then ultimately position herself so that she can land pretty comfortably on her feet, you know, using your work that you currently have to position you for your next, if you can. Now, if she absolutely can't take it any longer, then clearly she should be looking to put together her job search strategy, because she may need another job to fund and support her while she's transitioning into her business.
That's good.
That's good.
Now, I would speak to, let's just say, you know, we don't have a lot of history. Let's just say she's prepared in some way. I'll speak to that woman.
Okay.
Because I can relate, where I hated my job. I hated what I did. And it was, I had to make a choice on what I wanted to do. If I wanted to continue doing that or have more freedom and flexibility based on a tragic event that occurred in my family. And I quit my job. But I was prepared because I had already been contemplating doing something else. So everything that you're saying is exactly what I would prescribe as well. Consider the resources that you have, right? A lot of times we have resources right at our hands, at our fingertips, but we haven't used them because we're like stuck in the 9 to 5. We're doing the thing that everyone expects us to do. People would say to me, "Oh, you're going to quit the hospital and just do nails?" Like it was like a thing. But I had positioned myself in a way, and I had it timed out. I had everything set up so that when that time came, I was ready to make the leap, and it proved to be a successful one. So I would just speak to, what's the preparation? What's the plan you really want to do? What is the deep desire? And then have you consulted with someone regarding what it is that you want to do? Can you sustain yourself? And for how long? Right? Mm-hmm. Because staying in a job miserable where you hate everything, like, you making yourself sick. It's only a matter of time before you're going to end up in somebody's emergency room or in a doctor's office or somewhere where you're physically ill. So depending on what other things are set up in place, there may be room to leave that job without continuing the stress that it's putting on you for whatever reason.
That's good. All of those. Now, she did say, "I need your help on what I should do first." So I'm going to operate under the assumption that she has not sought out any assistance from anybody. She doesn't have a plan, that she is operating on pure emotion, which is not a good place to start a business from. Okay. So there's a couple of things that came to mind for me. And first is like, don't burn everything down. Okay. And don't jump without wings. All right. So you got to have something in place. You need to have some savings, right? You need to have a plan. You need to be wise, as Dr. Malika said, and whatever it is that you decide you're going to do. But I really want to go back to that. The point I'm making about not operating on your emotional state and making life-changing decisions out of emotion. I get you. I understand what you're saying. I have been in that position where not really hating the people I worked with, maybe the people I worked for, but not my team. And my team and I, we were always good, but and I wouldn't even say hate, not respecting the people that I worked for, not really liking or and maybe even hating the organization itself just because of the organizational culture or whatever, and literally like sick to my stomach in the morning, having to go to work. I have been there.
Wow.
But I needed to eat, and so did my family. We needed to have electricity, and we needed to have running water. We needed to make sure bills stay paid. husband who has an income too, but we are a 2-income household, and we live on 2 incomes, right? So me acting on my emotion and leaving would not have been a wise thing. And even if I was by myself, unless I had like 6 to 12 months of savings, it still wouldn't have been a wise thing. But even in that case, you still got to have the plan, right? But I think that she has to do some figuring out about what it is she's looking for and what's going to fulfill her. Because you said it earlier, wherever you go, there you are. So if you hate all of that, like, you're still in it. And you going into this business, you could create a business that you hate as well if you don't do it right. So you need to figure out what the issues are. You need to figure out what it is you're looking for, what's going to fulfill you. What are you going to be excited about waking up every morning to go and do in your own business, right? And then, I mean, one of the big thing is, can you be an entrepreneur? Can you be a business owner? Because everybody is not built for it. You could be a genius at what you do, but maybe you need to go and do that for somebody else and let them run the business. It's a gifting, it's a skill. It's like all these things wrapped up into being an entrepreneur. It looks glamorous. It is not. Let me just say that. It is not.
Say
glamorous.
that again for the people in the back.
It is not glamorous. It may look like it, but it's not. And it's not easy. Now, you can get to a place where it becomes that, but that takes time. It takes financial investment. It takes your energy. It takes a lot of sleepless nights. It takes a lot of failure. It takes a lot of no's. It takes a lot of iterations of your business. So just thinking you're going to quit your job and go start this business and everything is going to be fine is not realistic at all. And I need sis to know that as she's making this decision. Okay. I need her to recognize that starting your business may not be the answer to the problem
right now.
Yes.
Yes. So let us take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Are you a woman over 40 feeling trapped in your own life? Are you yearning to break free from the barriers that hold you back? Then look no further. Introducing Prison Break Coaching, the solution to your liberation. We understand that you want to live your impossible dream without spending years in therapy. Say goodbye to limitations and hello to the life you've always desired.
Okay, we're back. So listen, let's just talk a little bit more about our viewers' question, and let's share a little bit about what we experienced as far as our job, hating our job, and what we've done as a result of that. I will say very short and sweet. I'm still working, but what I'm doing is building, right? So I believe that you can still do the 9 to 5, as you said, Dr. Sharita, to pay the bills and do what needs to be done, but building on the side and learning on one end and using what you learn and all that knowledge and applying it to the business that you want to run, and really doing some self-reflection, right? I think that that's really important. I don't necessarily hate my job, but I do think there are other things that I want to do in life and not be here all of my life and give all of my energy. And so I'm building. And so I think that that's how I've been able to handle that for myself. How about you, Joyce?
I think it's so beautiful. Hence why I started a company titled A Captivating Career, because I believe that we have to create what we desire to have. And whether it's in your business or in your career. And I think I definitely don't hate my job. I absolutely love my job and I love my business, but I've been able to create what I love. And I've been able to do that by getting really crystal clear about what I'm passionate about, what my calling is, what my purpose is. So I've done this self-work, and wherever I go, I show up. And one thing that was mentioned earlier, and I think Dr. Sharita said, I think so, but what she mentioned was that when you go to work, right, you're gonna show up. If you're in your business, you're gonna show up. So what I've decided to do is to show up as my best and to take control. So rather, I would say from the outhouse to the White House is I'm still going to create love and passion in the work that I do, because wherever I go, I show up and I'm doing it and I'm being it. I don't know if you guys get that kind of.
That's good.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I would say think more about, instead of all, like that is a lot of hate. I think we said that, like, hate everything.
Yeah.
So maybe there just needs to be a little bit of shift in focus of some of the things that you love, right? Because what you pay attention to is what you're going to get more of. So if you hate this, you're just going to get more of that. So maybe there needs to be a period of time where just some gratitude journaling, something as simple as that. Like, what are you grateful for? Or is there anything about where you are that you can embrace and appreciate? Start from that place. And then think about some of the things that you really enjoy as you're evaluating.
Start with the paycheck. Be grateful for that.
Yes, because the paycheck going to fund the opportunity potentially.
Right.
So I think, evaluating all those things, but just paying a little bit more attention about all the things.
Some health
you love.
insurance.
Yes, that too. Yeah,
We don't get that as an entrepreneur.
No.
Oh, you get it, but you pay for it.
Oh, yeah, a lot.
All of it.
But yeah, you embrace a little bit more of things that you love. What do you love about your environment? What do you what is it that you can do, as opposed to all of these things that you can't and you don't? And I think that'll start you on your way to be guided more in the direction of something that is fulfilling, that you probably are not thinking about right now, to help you be guided into what it is that you should be doing, that you'd enjoy.
Yes, that's good. It's always good. It's always good. Some of y'all, if y'all not watching the Coaches RN, I don't know what's wrong.
I know.
Yes.
I don't know what's wrong.
I'm watching. I couldn't
Yes.
realize, but watching you all, I couldn't even speak because I was watching and learning.
Yes.
Getting the tea.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. So this has been another awesome episode of The Coaches RN. We are going to wrap it for this evening, but we want to thank you for joining us. And thanks again to our sponsors, A Captivating Career and The Speak Her. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And do some hearts and thumbs up and all of that stuff when you watch
All of the above. D.
That
All of the above.
from what we putting down. Okay.
Yes. You should.
Yes. And if you'd like to have your question featured on The Coaches RN, you can submit it at thecoachesrn.com/askthecoaches. That link is right below. And we'll see you at the same time, same place next week. But for now, the coaches are out.
The Coaches RN. When you need a timely, transparent friend, tune into The Coaches RN. Talking career, business, health, and wealth. You got a friend now. Into The Coaches RN. With authenticity. Come on.